Welcome back, everyone, to Game Changers Academy, presented by Verizon and AIM Labs. We have 2 series done. Wannabe 2-0'd Overkill and Tactical Throwers 2-0'd Colossal Gaming. And now we get into our final best of 3 of the night, ladies and gents. We got Tactical Throwers versus Sanrios, both winning their respective previous matches, and now heading into again, their best of 3 to determine who can move on to even farther in the playoffs, which happens tomorrow. But before we really start digging deep into the particular best of 3, let's go ahead and pop up that bracket yet again. We have had some updates. We had some very long matches on the bracket that are finally actually finished, and some very, very fast ones. So, yeah, let's take a look. Cute Noobs, we have Team Mystic Venus already 2-0ing Wannabes. That happened pretty quickly. And then the rest of the matches, obviously, are still being set up.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm surprised. Team Mystic Venus being a team that... I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that one bit. But I've deserved it. But I'm not surprised just because of the history of Team Mystic Venus. They have always had that moment where they're really, really great, but they've never had, like I like to say, the main character moment. They've never had that silver lining where they win it all and they get that victory and they get to claim themselves to be the champions. But they have consistently been improving, and yes, they, with the loss of one of their teammates, Power Pixel, they were able to bring in a new player, a new phase, and it looks like that might have been the missing piece to bringing them together. Because I mean, a 2-0 on Wannabes, especially how Wannabes did in their previous matches, being shown that they are definitely a really great team. It's just showing that little by little, Team Mystic Venus is improving, and I am excited to see how the rest of the tournament goes for them.
Yeah, well put. 4 times top 4 contestants in Game Changers Academy, but not quite making it to those finals or winning the tournament. So always thinking, okay, it's today their day, it's weekend their weekend. And so far they are looking pretty darn good. But just touch on the other bracket matches before we again hone in. Alias, I have to bring up the bracket again. We did have Revival finally defeat Verify, which just like overall the match, not that I was thinking Revival was going to win, but just like it was a very, very long match. I think it was about 2 hours. They're going to be facing Ariana Grande Perfume, and then Version X is facing Sova for the team. So I think we kind of expect again Version X to do fine, but Revival versus Ariana Grande Perfume. Any thoughts on that?
Hopefully it does not take as long as Revival versus Verify.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a good point. Revival's pretty tired, I have to imagine.
Oh yeah, and that's definitely not a position that you really want to be in going against a team like Ariana Grande Perfume, but you never know. Maybe they're just because there is something to say about being the team playing into things with a bit of a hot streak, as opposed to being the team that has just been sitting waiting for a match for the past few hours.
Yeah. I actually think that's a really good point. But Ariana Grande Perfume, also a big name in the bracket since they did win Game Changers Academy 2 months ago. So, yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing that result. It's going to be played off stream. Now we can go ahead and hone in on the thing that's on the mainstream, which is going to be Sanrios versus Tactical Throwers. So we just saw Tactical Throwers. We got a good idea of what they look like as we all saw them yesterday. So now we're really familiar. We're getting into BFF territory. Sanrios a little
Might see them
less so.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we might also see, one of these players, right? One of these teams you got to see tomorrow. So then, if we see Tactical Throwers tomorrow, then we're officially BFFs, is what we're going to go with. But Sanrios stands in their way. So, Cute Noob, can you tell us anything about Sanrios, even just their path here into this round?
Yeah, they've been very dominant. I mean, just from watching their scoreline, they have made sure that they were winning their matches significantly with a lot of, assertiveness. Just looking at one of their previous ones, they 13-3. That's definitely a scoreline. And on top of that, they also, I'm just like glancing over it, like they were just dominant. 13-4. Wait, let's go back one more. 13-8. Okay, that was a closer one, but still, like, they were able to really make sure that they were on top. And a name that I'm looking out for is going to be Luna Fox, a name that has been known here in the Game Changers Academy for quite a while. So having them on their team, the other names I'm not so familiar with, but I mean they're obviously an it team since they've made it this far. Going against Tactical Throwers is going to be a battle, not only because they are also a well-known team that's been established for a long time, but they've also been consecutively winning and feeling dominant. But I guess it poses the question, are you one of the players that has longevity? Are you able to sustain the same amount of gameplay and persistence and consistency throughout a long period of time? Because yes, it was a 2-0, but I mean, it was still a little bit of a while that they were playing. So are they going to be able to keep up that work against Sanrios is the question.
Yeah, it's one of those very small but important factors. The better you get at a competitive game, you start talking about mentality, you start talking about map preference, start talking about longevity. Can you actually keep up a performance for a certain amount of time? So certainly a good point. And also just we're throwing wrenches, I think, a little more in Academy, right? We're like, well, this team did really well here, so they might do well here. Okay, well, actually, we didn't pair that up quite correctly, because as far as actual head-to-heads between teams in the Academies, we don't have that many. That's another one of those examples. Let's go ahead and throw up the maps so we can get a little bit more detailed in our discussion between these two teams. Bind is so... Bind is so similar to the gray. I actually was like,
I definitely also thought we were only going to Ascent.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? No, but it is going to
worst
be
nightmare.
Bind, Fracture, and Ascent as the decider. If we get there, again, not really knowing how exactly this is going to go, but starting off with Bind, I feel like it's the first time we've seen it in Game Changers Academy October. I could be wrong about that, but Alias, talk to us about it.
I think the first thing that I want to point out is that neither Breeze nor Haven were chosen. Both were left on the table.
Yay.
And instead of choosing one that they might be a little bit more comfortable with, Tactical Throwers opted to go for Bind. I think that's a very interesting choice. Meanwhile, Sanrios opting for Fracture. That's the map that they took the set on against Adore Esports just a one stage in the bracket ago. With a very dominant 13-5. So I'm very curious to see how this map will just shapes out in general.
Yeah, good point. I mean, Bind is up there as far as good maps for Tactical Throwers. But Sanrio, well, yeah, okay. Looking at it, Bind's not particularly good for them. So you think that's maybe where Tactical Throwers is going with that one? Cute news?
Yeah.
Or either person.
Yeah. No, I agree with Alias. I definitely do think that Tactical Throwers feel comfortable. Again, we didn't think that Breeze was a map that they were comfortable with either. And then they came on and they're like, whoopah, look at us. We're so good at this map. Here's a new stat for our Spike GG website. So I think Bind being one of those maps that they're like, yeah, we don't necessarily want to go there, but if we have to, we will, and we will bring out a fight. As compared to what Sanrio shows, they actually just on Spike GG, they don't have anything for Bind. But again, it could be kind of those like, we didn't want to show it until we're here at this point type of deal. But as far as the rest of the maps, I believe we're going to Fracture. I'm excited for Fracture. Fracture is like an amusement park, and it has all types of things. It has highs, it has lows, it has all of the in-between, so I'm really excited to see what each team has. And Zombie, I think it's time for you to send us over again.
It is once again time, guys. Let's see if we get our first 2-1 of the night, or it's going to be another 2-0 as we head into Tactical Throwers versus Sanrios.
Are you becoming a Tactical Thrower fan now, Alias?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm just a fan of good Valorant, and I really like the more disciplined style, which is exactly why my favorite team for a while was Team Liquid, because when I think disciplined Valorant, first team that comes to mind is Team Liquid, because of course it is. I'm cursed. Either way, though, we are going to be seeing relatively different comps coming out from both these teams. Chamber, Raze, both common. Fade also becoming a mainstay on Bind, but the difference in playstyle between the Astra Sky versus the Brimstone Breach is one that I is one that I'm definitely interested in seeing.
Okay, yes, I hear everything you're saying, but I was so caught off by Sanrio's logo. What is that?
It's a Sanrio,
Is it a,
I guess.
it's a cinnamon roll?
Hey, you know?
Okay, all right, we're gonna go with that. Anyways,
Yeah.
bringing our attention back to what matters the most, like you were talking about. Oh, it's actual thing. I have never seen this in my life. But anyways, all right, production's cutting me off here, chat. They're distracting me. I have ADHD, so anything shiny, anything pretty definitely catches my eyes. But you were talking about the Astra, you were talking about the Brimstone. I, for one, love me Astra main. I also like some eliminations already coming off the board here for the defenders. They're not going to allow for the site to be taken. Their aggression was based towards a short, but it's going to be the turnaround by tactical throwers, adding a wrench in that plan. Kiss and Fairy. They're not going to agree to that. They're going to say, no, we don't want you on our site. This is our swamp. You need to get out.
Yeah, just a whole lot of aggression coming out from both teams. It's definitely something that I'm used to seeing in terms of running Brimstone Breach. That's a composition that you normally want to play relatively quickly. Meanwhile, on the side of Sanrios, a little bit of pistol aggression to counter it. Definitely a nice, not necessarily change of pace given that it is the first round, but I'm always a big fan of seeing teams try something completely different on pistols, and just running into a breach stun definitely seems like it falls under completely different.
Where are you? Thinking outside the box should be the slogan for Valorant, don't you think?
Isn't Valorant's like slogan? I don't necessarily know if I consider it a slogan, but I know that they use like the term like if it wins, it works in some marketing.
Well, this is definitely working out here for Sanrios, being aggressive over that Shower's position. Again, you were talking about that fault line. It was used once again, yes. There was a little bit of a catch out there, but it does not matter. Sanrios were the ones to come out on top. Juno Ford being the last remaining for tactical throwers here. But the spike is so far gone into enemy territory.
Yeah, Sanrio's just keeping 2 on the spike, just making sure that it can't be picked up. Meanwhile, the other 2 are going to poke around a little bit, make sure that they're not getting lurked up on. This round should hypothetically end relatively quickly, especially since Juna seems to be... Oh no, she's not walking in. She's got a free kick on Kiss.
30 seconds left.
Uh-oh.
That's what happened? Where were the comms? What is going on?
Okay, there we go. Subui going to just finish it off. 1 extra gun being dropped. Not the end of the world. The Guardian stays in the hands of Sanrios. They're fine. Everything is fine.
I can't help but picture that meme where it's like the
Oh, absolutely. The dog
fire.
with the fire.
Yeah.
Isn't that in Valorant? Like, did they make a spray for that?
They did. It's great. I love it. I feel
Is
like
it Razor Phoenix?
Wait, what?
Is it Razor Phoenix in the spray?
No, it's the dog, isn't it? Oh, it's Brim. Isn't it Brim?
I think it is Brim. You're right.
Yeah, I think
Anyways, what do you love?
Oh, I was gonna say I love the aggression coming out here by Kaya, getting that initial pick. Sator also adding on to the mix, and woman advantage finally coming through for tactical throwers. They found difficulty being aggressive onto one specific site, and now they are finding success by just being really, really patient and waiting for the aggression for Sanrios. Also, I wanted to give kudos to Riot because I feel like Riot always makes really great sprays.
Yeah, I always there's just like a small like pang of disappointment when I'm like, I don't know if I wanted the battle pass, but like I can't miss out on the let me in spray.
Battle pass is a must-have. Oh, it's Phoenix? I'm lying. I trolled. I love Brim.
How
Okay,
dare
Juno
you.
Ford. Getting pulled there. Unfortunate case of headshotting by Kiss. That allows for there to be at least some potential kills here coming out for tactical throwers. Sanrio has a hope, has a dream, has an Astra with a Nebula in the back pocket. but is there enough time is the question. Maybe the place to cover off Octagon, but unfortunately nobody's gonna be home there. It's gonna have to face with the Ray of Kea, who's just holding about. With not enough time, the exit frag is going to go in the way of Kea.
Yeah, very knowing that they really didn't have much of a way off the site, instead just looking for some sort of exit. Just gonna right into Kea, who actually has her tour de force online. If the economy gets a little bit spotty, which it does look like it is for Junifor and Satyr just a little bit, Kea's just going to pop the ultimate, help mitigate a little bit of that economic damage. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kea's just buying an operator outright, and it looks like both these scoped weapons are going to run into each other right off the bat, both trying to take a peek down B-Long.
Oh, the cover. Nebula was a little bit of a bait and switch here. Haunt. Ooh, impactful Haunt over onto Showers. It shows two of the players from Tactical Throwers lurking about. And with the orb getting taken, it's going to be a swing coming out from Eos, and Kiss just lands a small little smooch on the forehead. It's going to say goodnight to Breach. No longer able to do anything.
That's the flashes down too. So really not able to do much at this point. Bind notorious for having relatively hard to push onto sites, and losing your main initiator isn't exactly the best remedy for that. Well, Cat trying to take a fight with June4, looking into a short. And right now, it just doesn't seem like Tactical Throwers is able to make up for any sort of lost ground. Rifle does end up being retrieved by Kea, though, as the hit finally looks like it's starting to come in for the Tactical Throwers.
Yeah, over to Strike, doesn't find a home. Instead, it's going to be Fairy getting one. Kaya with the trade, 13 seconds onto the board. The bomb is going to find its place. 5 health in a dream. Run to Satyr is punished right off the bat, and the bomb still has not been planted. And I don't think it will at this point. I don't think there's enough time. Is there? I don't know. Could prove me wrong. No, there is not. And at least you get the money, and 2 of your teammates get to save their weapons. But unfortunately, you did lose the round.
Yeah, just a case of just a bit too little, too late. Ultimately, Sanrios just holding, but not necessarily even by having all their players play super aggressively, but more so just by having their players take space where they knew they could, and just hold it. If you can get a couple of players onto the site like that, making sure that the spike never actually has a chance to get safely planted, then you can win rounds like that. You don't have to always have everybody taken out, and you don't have to necessarily play for this do-or-die situation that you can find yourself in sometimes. Speak of do-or-die, just enough room for them to dodge.
That was a good attempt there by Lunafox. Satyr says, alright, you're gonna get aggressive. I'm gonna give you a nice little party your way. Maybe not a party you desired, but you know, you went there. And now that is going to be the first blood going over to Tactical Throwers. I feel like Tactical Throwers went into this match wanting to impose their force onto Sanrios, and Sanrios is just doing phenomenal at being like, okay, you want to take this space, we'll give it to you, or no, we're not going to give it to you, and we're going to have everybody fight you for it. As we see Showstopper coming out in return for Kitty Cat, finds one, but gets traded off just as quickly. Fairy was in lamps, and Satyr said, okay, I'm going to take control of this. Let me make sure that you do not have a home here. Now Kiss with an operator in the backhand, and a teammate still left in sight. Need to make things happen.
Yeah, a lot of pressure being exerted from lamps here. If this isn't cleared properly, this probably ends up winning Tactical Throwers the round, and Sabui falling to Kea, just going to mitigate that even further. And now looking for the pick, and is going to find Kiss on just the dry swing. Operator falls, not going to be retrieved by Tactical Throwers. We've seen in that last set that they usually tend to just run Kaya on the operator, on the Vandal anyways, but Tactical Throwers, just the slower, more defaulty playstyle, cutting noise eventually, and just playing off of late round aggression seems to be working out well for them. And the benefit of that round that they lost via timeout is that Sanrios just doesn't have money. They have a tour de force, but outside of that, only one player is going to actually have a primary weapon and a sheriff for another player, but nothing else to work with.
Oh my. Kitty cat playing Russian roulette there, hoping that the peak was going to come through from Satyr, and Satyr, too smart for that. Yeah, you said Sanrio's looking poor, like my bank account, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm a hot Cheeto. Because if you like hot Cheetos, then you can support me. So Sanrios, they're looking for some type of support here coming out from Tactical Throwers here, saying, "Come on, help us out. Our bank account is very low." Instead, Satyr says, "What about if I just give you a nade? See what you can get out of that."
Yeah. Bank not only being broken, but also exploded in the process. Tactical Throwers working their way onto site, trying to exert a little bit of pressure towards Elbow, but all 4 members of Sanrios are at least close enough to the site to where they can do something. Sky Smoke, though, going to lock out Elbow very quickly, and now Satyr able to deal with at least one tour de force, going to find her eventually, but so much time being wasted just by that one interaction alone.
Oh man. Oh, the hop through the fault line. Fairy makes it through, but gets killed right after. Good fault line to split both of the defenders, and exit frags are not going to go in the way of Sanrios. What's the answer here, Alias?
Honestly, I would like to see a little bit of that early aggression that we saw those first few rounds. It's a little bit harder to work around against this more defaulty style that Tactical Throwers is running, especially when you throw in the breach using stuns just to take map control a little bit earlier. But I do think that they can get it to work, especially since you do have the Fade ult, you do have the Seekers. You can opt to try and take map control early, and then if that doesn't work, you can just essentially try and play retake on multiple different sites. You've got the tools to do it. It really just hinges on whether or not you can actually figure out a way to effectively take that space.
Ooh, no information given up here by Tactical Throwers. We saw the Haunt being used up long. No one was home. Saw the Guiding Light being used up in showers. Nobody was there either. Now gonna invest this Prowler over onto long, and also did not gather any information. That trademark finally being that first point of contact there for Sanrios. To know exactly where the bomb is going. Another Prowler gives away more. There is a Nightfall in the back pocket of a Luna Fox, but it's going to be Cebu Sky here with the pick off on Kea. Kea has been phenomenal for Tactical Throwers, initially getting those first bloods, also creating so much space, now being denied. It's going to allow for Sanrios to really hold on to his sight, make sure that they have the weapon advantage and woman advantage for that kill onto Satyr. Eos trying to eliminate the rest of the teams onto side, but the good thing about Sanrios is they still have so much utility to zone them off of it. We talked about previously, Alias, about the fact that you don't have to kill everyone. All you have to do is make sure that that bomb does not get planted. And that's exactly what Sanrios is trying to do at this point. Seekers invested, stuns away, push through, but no, it's going to be Starry holding off CT. It is down left just to kiss to clutch this out, with no information about whether or where exactly these opponents are. Swings through, both are looking, takes the 1v1, picks up a second weapon, and it's going to be Eos clutching it out here for Tactical Throwers.
Yeah, when both players are a little bit lower on HP like that, that's a very, very precarious situation. But ultimately, Tactical Throwers navigate that very well. I do want to point out one thing that I think was interesting. I think Subui being out of showers early definitely limited tactical throwers' options in terms of not only just picking a player off, but also not opting to teleport after the counter nightfall came in. Especially since when you are affected by that nightfall, you don't have sound. So a teleport might easily go missed. And if they had teleported, they would have found that the A site was wide open. But because Sibui had lurked out of showers early and you didn't know where she was, tactical throwers might have felt like they were locked into this B site by virtue of just not having time to rotate the old fashioned way.
Tactical having a hard time, especially I feel like just leaving Kea on their own over onto showers might have been a little bit difficult. It looked like the plan was to go B, but after so much information was gathered by Sanrios. I mean, you had the trademark, and then after the trademark, you had the Prowler. That lets you know that not only is Chamber there, there's also going to be the Fate there, and you also plan for there to be the rotation coming in after nothing was gathered there. So I think maybe making sure that, yes, you default for tactical throwers, but making sure that your buddies have friends, right? Had there been a trade-off there from the sky of Sanrios, maybe they could have really rotated. I think the tactical throwers, of course, they want to impose their force by being the ones hitting the site, but they're not quite getting what they desire here. Kaya gets one and retreats. Safe call. There's someone just around the corner. Prowler gives away the position of Kiss. Sibui stays put, stays vigilant with the Stinger in hand, able to collect one. Juniper pushes and aggresses onto the site along with Satyr, who collects the last and down to just one fairy.
They're not going to know that she's here because she didn't manage to get the alarm bot smoked off. However, that did waste a little bit of time. Rifle available for her, but after this pick on Kaya, I don't know how much she's going to be able to get. She almost doesn't get that.
The full health, Nebula in the trade.
Damage isn't bad, though. I just don't know how much it'll actually... Yeah, that's not going to have much of an effect at all. Everyone comfortably in range of buying up rifles, even after they bought up rifles.
There's so much money.
So much money. Unlike our bank account. I think that bit's run its course. But
Crying.
Crying indeed. I do really like the adaptation that we've been seeing from Tactical Throwers, and I'd like to touch on that after the round, because I think this one's going to end up being a little bit pacier, but Tactical Throwers have been playing this map extremely well.
Oh, that was a really good seize. That seize allowed for Satyr to push onto the site and eliminate Sky and get that full, like, frontal control of the site. Kitty Cat, though, I don't know if this was a teleport or there was just a full-on rotation here. But it's going to be two. They don't look the right way. Check your corners, kids, especially left and right when you're crossing the street because you might get mauled by a Satyr.
Oh, God, imagine if that was the world we lived in. Just satyrs around every corner. He's has a bit of an opportunity to catch people out here, but her teammate's just not in a place where she can play off of.
I'm just so appalled by how much space and rotation was made just simply by the Fate Seize and Satyr being able to get onto the site. The bomb wasn't even planted there. The bomb was planted on the different area code.
Yeah, no, there's definitely something to be said in terms of just Sanrios feeling like they had to make that desperate play after at least one of their players goes down outside of showers, or just inside of showers, rather. And feeling like they had to get players over there in time. They do leave Fairy there to essentially just try and stall, but the util just doesn't quite come up in time, and because of that, Fairy's not able to take full advantage of the space that she had. between that and B site being one of the hardest sites in the game to retake just on any map, it's not a particularly helpful situation that Sanrios put themselves in. But now it does look like we're going to be seeing some of that early aggression coming out. A little bit of a pinch supported by the operator, perhaps. It is being a little bit slow to develop, and I think instead what we're going to be seeing is a bait play, trying to get Kitty Cat set up so that they can take a peek after the operator shot rings out.
Oh, but that Prowler, it forces out a bullet, and the rest of Sanrios, they're gonna make a long haul. Kaya could potentially get caught out here. Oh, sees the weapon of one. The rotation from Tactical Throwers already quick as a car already onto the B site, just zooming their way over, and they are left with just 3 of the defenders who were on that A site. They're having to retake up that space while so many of Tactical Thrower players are on the site.
Yeah. The nade actually bouncing off and dealing more damage to Satyr because of that. Doesn't quite deny the plant, which is what I think was the desired effect, but still, Satyr low on HP. Fight almost goes in favor of Sabui right there, but still, Tactical Throwers are just so well entrenched on this B site. There's nothing that Sanrios have shown that they can do that has actually led to Tactical Throwers being moved off, and because of that, they're just playing post-plant on site. They're taking the 1v1s as they come, and there's just no way for Kiss or any of the other members to actually fight their way back in. So instead, the operator's just going to be saved for the second round in a row. Juniper goes down, but ultimately, the saved operator isn't doing much. It's just being avoided every single round by Tactical Throwers.
Yeah, I can't recall. Do you recall if they put Chamber on B the first time around and then flipped once things weren't working? Or I feel like I've seen Chamber on A every single round. Is that just me?
I think that is actually part of the adaptation that we've seen come out from Tactical Throwers. Initially, Chamber was playing on B, and then Tactical Throwers just kind of stopped going B. And the second that you don't run into that Chamber on bind, the Chamber is almost not worth having. So they flipped Kiss back towards A to try and get a little bit more aggression, like you see there, as Kiss actually finds a pick on Juniper and nearly finds another one on Starry.
Oh, Luna Fox. It's really impatient. They were trying to create some type of like sandwich effect. Unfortunately, that did not go through, and they got punished for being so aggressive. And this is a constant thing, right? Tactical Throwers get a kill onto one site and then just as quickly rotate over. We have seen Fairy B onto this B site, but like you stated, not having the perfect angle, not being able to sustain it as long. I'm also not seeing too many Nebulas. I don't know if it was because of a lack of economy, but I didn't see any Nebulas being placed off. So I'm a little bit curious as to that as well.
I think it might have just been like some of them got used earlier in the round to try and support that aggressive push, and either they weren't online or they just were being held to make sure that Fairy actually had some utility left later in the round. But either way, Tactical Throwers' pace is just, it's impeccable right now. Sanrios tries to get aggressive and they end up running into multiple players that are being set up specifically to catch that aggression out and make sure that it isn't actually coming in, like, it's not doing anything. Meanwhile, for Tactical Throwers, they're able to poke and prod as they wish, specifically because Juniper has been doing a great job of finding ways of just catching players off guard. Kaya has done extremely well in terms of just lurking around the map, and the rest of the team just in general is doing a great job of responding to the information that's being gathered by their teammates.
They are so dead.
Well, to try to get some answer to this, we're gonna bring out the tour de force. It's okay, guys, we have to play. There is no in between. Fairy with the judge onto Hookah. I do like this play. I do like this play quite a lot.
It's also great that Tsubui is backing her up as well. I don't actually know if this Prowler is going to... Oh, it does. Kiss actually tries to run out, and Sator lands a nade shot on the Fairy.
Oh, that is absolutely feels bad. I am crying in the club. Sabui thinks they have the perfect, and it did look like a perfect. Unfortunately, the shots did not go in their favor. Now Luna Fox in the back of the site, being able to get the post plant, brings out the Nightfall, and it's going to be Luna Fox who manages to get 2 more. It's down left to Kitty Cat, but not for long. Tactical throwers, they're just able, like you said, to trade off each other.
Switching sides.
Yeah, it's... That positioning on that B site is going to haunt Sanrios for a long time. And the timeout actually being called at the start of the half, which is something that I don't know if they're going to have later on because of that. But either way, just using the timeout to catch the breather is something that I can... Or to catch a breather is something that I can totally get behind. It's been a very intense first half, and Sanrios might just need a bit of time to relax, play off of each other, trust that their playstyle is actually going to hold up, and allow tactical throwers to just come to them sometimes. Meanwhile, going into this attack half, what do you... Like, what would you like to see in terms of dealing with Breach and Raze specifically?
Oh man,
If you're Sanrios.
I'm gonna see. I feel like I'm gonna see a lot of comboing with the Raze, with the Breach, and with the Fade coming out from tactical throwers. I would love for Sanrios to bait out utility. That's something that worked for tactical throwers opponents. I'm sorry, I tend to blink a lot, but their opponents that they played on day 1, which was Revival. Revival was so great, and did they play? I feel like they played on Bind, but maybe I'm making this up. I don't know. My memory's a little sketched slightly. But point is, I feel like a Revival was so great at forcing tactical throwers to use a lot of utility, and then rotating off. And once they did that, it was easier for them to get onto the site and really get off any picks that they wanted. So not only getting those initial picks, but also making sure that you are baiting out the utility, because we know how useful the breach is to stop really hard pushes, and you know how useful the utility from the Raze is as well. So just simply being patient, simply baiting out utility just like they are. Look at this. You get a pull, you get a stun, you get a fault line as well. Look, those nades coming out as well for Raze, and then there you have it. You don't have the Raze nades, you don't have a pull, you don't have a stun from the breach. Now you can rotate over onto this B site where there's one lonesome chamber holding on and making sure that you're pushing together. Now, this is going to be really, can Sanrios trade off of each other at this moment?
It does look like they will beat the rotations just by a hair. It's going to be huge if Kai is able to get one.
Spike down B.
Yeah. But even still, only getting one there is a massive shame. Sator getting another one on the other, another 2 on the other hand is actually massive though. Even still, it all lands on the shoulders of Eoz.
If you want it on anyone's shoulders, I would bet on Eoz. Definitely. Okay, maybe not. Luna Fox says you were hoping too much.
I think Luna took that on the shoulders thing a bit too literally, just going up, landing a few bullets very squarely on the shoulders of Eoz. Sanrios does manage to win a rather scary pistol, all things considered. But win the pistol they do, nonetheless. And they will have the gun advantage going into the second round, but past that, it's going to take quite a lot to come back. They do have one substantial benefit though. They are on the 3 end of the 9-3 curse.
Yep. It was scary. It was spooky. Checking corners has to be another slogan for Valorant, I feel like. Because Kaya was able to, yes, eliminate one, but that gave enough time for their team to rotate over. And once again, this time around, Kitty Cat says, I heard you. I'm hearing your prayers here, Cute Noob. I'm going to check the corner and eliminate the player onto site. And going forward, I'm gonna continue my wraith onto the player, onto CT. Satyr with just a shorty. Did I say just a shorty, chat? It's not just any shorty. It's the shorty in the hands of Satyr, who has to make a miracle happen. 4 players of Sanrios still left alive to see another day for the following as they gather their 5th point onto the board.
Yeah. Spectre, only weapon being lost. The Bulldog carried over. Full shields need to be repurchased for Luna. Kiss can honestly just make do with her Headhunter bullets. And it seems like, for the most part, Sanrios is going to have a very strong bonus, assuming that they can actually overcome just the CT-sided nature of Bind.
Can they? Look at that shiny weapon. What's your favorite weapon in Valorant? Or sorry, favorite weapon skin?
I don't know. I'll have to think on that as this bonus round plays out a little bit more.
Well, tactical throwers looking to make a statement. Although Satyr, very low on health. That's unfortunate to think about not having a healer on your team, right? You can't be like, yo, can I get a heal, please? You just gotta live it out.
Yeah.
Hope that you can do some damage for your team.
Yeah. And especially on a map where, like, the 2 healers are, like, the most common.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like either Sky or Sage is completely unviable on this map. It's like, we just don't want to run one. Anyways, it's not going to be Satyr that goes down first. It's actually going to be Starry. And just like that, the spike does go down. And Satyr finds another one on 9 HP anyways. And then gets Phantom Momented.
To be able to still get an elimination with only 9 health and a dream, I could only imagine. Sanrio's now left to only just 2 players. Did I say 2? Okay, make this a 2v2 as Kiss 2v1 finds such a nice headhunter shot. There's still some blinds left in the back pocket of Eoz, who's trying to hold to halfway, does indeed, but the swing is called at the perfect time. Sanrios were able to win their bonus buy, or yeah. So it's looking nice and dandy for their economy.
Yeah. And not only that, they also have the Tour de Force ready. So they will be able to, like, pop it. They'll just, like, not this round, likely, but in later rounds, if their economy gets a bit weak, or if, for instance, Luna Fox ends up dying this round in a, just like a bit of a situation, then Sanrios will still have the Tour de Force ready to help balance out that economy just a little bit more. Meanwhile, on the side of tactical throwers, your economy is not exactly where you want it to be. There's still a lot of creds on a couple of players, specifically Kaya, who is actually, like, at or around 3,000. But that's mostly going to be saved with the op, most likely.
Oh.
And even if it wasn't, that's still a lot of fire coming your way. Starry has somehow managed to get around Luna Fox's bullets. She definitely thinks that this was cleared. And it's not.
What is going on? There ain't no way. There's bait. There's just simple aggression. You were saying, yeah, it's a safe round for tactical throwers, economy round. We've seen what Satyr could do with just a Sheriff. That round where it was like a easy 3k with simply Sheriff. That's why tactical throwers are so scary. They can make the most with what they've got. And we are seeing them do it at a phenomenal pace here.
left.
Starry hands the weapon over. There's a little swippy swappy there. Here's your weapon. I'll take this one. And we'll be okay.
Yeah. And how, if you're Sanrios, how do you even get the spike down in this situation? You have the aftershock to deal with, and even just that little bit of extra stall would be huge.
Well, they're gonna do it with a lot of guts. That's what I'm gonna tell you. A lot of guts and a lot of willpower. And Fairy lives. Fairy gets one. The reload comes through. And tactical throwers, they're able to win a thrifty.
Yeah, that's a huge round after losing your first gun round of the half to the bonus. luckily for Sanrios, they do have the the almost the exact economic situation that I brought up earlier. Lunafox likely just going to rely on Kiss to drop her, and the tour de force can be popped in order to make sure that everybody has the right weaponry for the job, and still plenty of credits for Kiss to rely on later. Meanwhile, Kaya is going to buy up that operator for this defensive round. Tactical throwers look to continue that momentum going into the back half of
Play,
the
let's
second half.
play.
That's one thing about tactical throwers is once they start, it's very hard to shut down their momentum. But Luna Fox says, we gotta try. We can't just roll over and give them this. Put that pick onto Kaya. It's gonna be extremely helpful. You're not gonna have that chamber, the trademark, or any teleportation happening around, even though you could technically take the teleports.
But look at how the defensive positions just kind of collapse after that pick. Because you were counting on the chamber there with the operator to help hold that site, because the chamber dies, then more players have to try and rotate in, and it just doesn't end up working out. Great counter ultimate from the tactical throwers, though, as they are going to end up forcing some of the players on Sanrios to take the teleporter, but it looks like they're just coming right back. They're using that as audio bait.
Oh, I don't know.
And
I
Fairy's
think
just going to take the teleporter back.
A-side
No,
30
they're not.
seconds left.
They're just going to hit it. And Junoforce has still been here this entire time.
Spike down A.
Satyr gets caught on top. Tactical throwers left to just 2. Now the teleport comes back into play. There is enough time at the bomb. Especially if, okay, there's no way Starry takes the teleport and now has the spike in their possession.
Or the only way that that's going to work. The quick scope not going to work out for Kiss. Starry with 3 very important kills through that teleporter. And what looked like some extremely harrowing defensive positioning ends up working out well for them in the end. Initially, I thought that having to relocate Eos from just garden area or around Belong, I'm not entirely sure where exactly they were, as Starry also had to retreat from there to move back towards that A site in order to help out Lunafox, or not Lunafox, Unifor. Would initially be bad, but instead relocating her to back site ended up working out very well, as she was able to successfully pop the breach ultimate. And
Oh,
Satyr
what a beautiful stun!
played beautifully off her teammate's util. I get to find a pick on Fairy.
Oh.
Satyr, the satchel!
Was so good. Paint shells to zone out lamps, but no, it's going to swing out from Cebu. There is some Seekers in the back pocket, but I mean, that's just the last person standing here. But Sanrio's not worth investing, and just like that, with that beautiful stun from Eos and the kills coming out for Satyr, we are going to match point, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. The buy, all in all, not too bad from Sanrios. Obviously going to have to deal with light armor on almost every player is... util has to be bought, but you do have the Seekers to work off of. You do have 3 like main rifles as well as a Bulldog, and Fairy has somehow managed to acquire full armor for herself. So, in terms of the buy, it's not as bad as it could be, but there's got to be something for Sanrios specifically on this round in order to counteract it, and the stun is going to happen yet again. Another
This
flash
time around. It's countered. It's countered with the flash. Aftershock invested, not finding a home. That's utility being used. Every time it works out for Sanrios, it's when you can really bait out the utility coming out from tactical throwers. You see that Boombot, which gives away the position of Lunafox, Prowler as well, and... oh man, Elias, it's looking like Sanrios really wants to go A, but... there's too much there. Way too much.
And there's nothing on B that has made the tactical throwers want to rotate. I think we might actually be seeing a little bit of a, the players on Sanrios that are in Hookah are going to be spotted. So that might help with baiting out the rotates, but at this point, yeah, the Fatal can just come in, and there's nothing more that tactical throwers can do outside of just take their lumps, push in on a disadvantageous situation. Unifor going to get stunned here, but the Brimstone ultimate going to help catch the players coming out of the long, and amidst all the scramble, somehow Sanrios have managed to find themselves the round.
I was going to say Sanrio's persistency to want to hit that site was so frustrating to watch, but there was so much baited out there. I mean, that orbital strike, which essentially got tactical throwers absolutely nothing. And I'm just appalled by how crispy clean Luna Fox's shots were.
Yeah, but even still, the buy for tactical thrower is still very, very, very strong. Tour de Force also online should Kaya decide that she needs it, but ultimately, it doesn't look like she's going to be in a position where the operator would be much better than the rifle. A site heavy under pressure at the moment, and Kiss is going to find out Unifor. So Kaya now essentially just forced to stay on site and fight to try and stall for her team, but it's just not going to happen. Sanrios have full control of the site and beyond, and then some.
Okay, this Brimstone flank could potentially be something. The smoke covered up that trademark. Ahan takes away Satyrs' position. Eos able to collect one, but the trade-off is there. And Starry on a very long stroll here, Alias.
Yeah, at this point, it's just try and go for damage. Starry's buy not necessarily going to be the best next round either, especially if she ends up running into Luna Fox here.
Like butter, baby.
Luckily, she does come out on the right side of that, but at the same time, it feels like the momentum has taken a massive shift. Tactical throwers fully in control of, or not tactical throwers, Sanrios are now fully in control of the pace of the rounds, where exactly tactical throwers are able to exert their map control, and just doing such a good job of dissecting tactical throwers' more passive, responsive playstyle in favor of just allowing Sanrios to go more aggressive. They've found a weakness on each of the 8 rounds that they've won, and they've just exploited it.
I'll find you.
Extremely well.
Ooh, nice. Gathered that orbital. That point for the orbital strike. And that boombot clears off hookah, which I don't think we've actually seen tactical throwers play that hookah too much. I think most of the time they just kind of give it up. So not a lot of information being gathered here by Sanrios, especially since that smoke went out.
Now Sanrios going to just adjust the pace that they've been playing at. Noise being cut, they do break the trademark being thrown in showers, but they're still waiting for the hit to come in, and it looks like it's going to come in now on the back of that Cosmic Divide. Still though, very slow play starting to happen, Kaya able to get out successfully, but the front of the site is now completely cleared.
Oh, and there goes that orbital strike. Throwing a wrench in the plans of Sanrios. Everything looks so clean, so crispy, so on point. But no, now the time has been bought. Rotations are through. They're going to have enough time to plant, but you have to remember that Cosmic Divide, it has to come down, and it does indeed. It's going to be Sanders fighting off Kiss, who's coming out of the smoke like, what's going on? I don't know, but I'm here. It's eliminated just as quickly. The showstopper in the back pocket of Satyrs wants to say, what's up? Here's a party, finds another. And there we have it, folks. It's a 2-on-2. Both of these attackers need to hide, need to fight for their lives here. They know that one showers, but where is the other? The other's a short. The time is ticking. Gonna have to take the fight. 1v1 here. Satyr sees the shoulder of one, looking for the second. We know short and finds.
Oh, wow.
Satyr has done it, ladies and gentlemen. 4K to end this map for tactical throwers.
Defenders win.
And it looked very, very harrowing for tactical throwers towards the end there, but they are ultimately able to take their map pick. Another 13-8, oddly enough, for their map pick. We are joined once again by our lovely host, Zombie Grub.
Yeah. Hey guys. Yeah, Sader with the 4K at the end, kind of giving us, I think, a bit of an impromptu ending. I think we were all kind of agreeing with Alias' statement that momentum seemed to have shifted, and it was just, one of those situations that was going to be very difficult to actually get that defuse. Sader does it, and she's been kind of popping off consistently, so maybe it's not that much of a surprise, but she really did well, not just with that 4K, but topping the scoreboard. Would you say the MVP, even more so than just in the actual data there, cute noobs?
I think Sater definitely was the tip of the spear for tactical throwers, not only creating that space, but getting those initial picks. Anytime you have a really good duelist, you're going to do phenomenal, especially if you can rely from the rest of your team to back you up.
Which seemed like she was able to do. So tactical throwers does take the first map, Bind, which was their map choice, so that kind of works out well for them. We'll talk about the next map actually when we get back from the break, but just to kind of wrap it up, talk about what we might be seeing in the future. Alias, are we really worried for Sanrios, or was that close enough? Are you thinking that this is going to be a back and forth? We're going to get that game 3.
Especially with the momentum shift, I think Sanrios is definitely going to be very well in contention for this. And my belief in them is heightened a bit when you consider that we're going to Fracture, a map that, even though it has some similarities with Bind, notably no mid that you can exploit in quite the same way, it definitely favors attacking very quickly, as opposed to more the slow, defaulty style that it seemed like both teams were trying to play towards the end. And I believe that because of that playstyle shift, it definitely could shift things a little bit more in Sanrios' favor. But at the same time, we've also seen tactical throwers not only deal really well with that type of playstyle, but also adopt it for themselves at times. And because of that, not only because of that, I'm just excited to see Fracture in general.
Yeah, I think I am also just really excited to see Fracture. Still one of the most unique maps to, I think, just tactical FPS in general. So it's always one of those ones like, how exactly we're going to be playing, who is actually comfortable on this map. And clearly both teams are comfortable enough to let it through vetoes, but who actually will be winning on it. It's going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to be on Sanrio's map pick Fracture for game number 2, so don't go anywhere, guys.
I know there's no way you can say what you want, call me insane, trying to bring me down, but I'll never say, hey, hey, watch me levitate. Watch me levitate. Hey, hey, watch me levitate. Try to paint me like a no-name, so sorry, but we're not the same. No, we're not the same. Poor you, please forgive me, cause I don't feel any pity. I'm fed up with lies, you wanted my demise. Now you're watching me rise, rise, rise. Up in the window, smaller and smaller you fade out. Up in the window, yeah. You cannot get my vibe, no there's no way. I'm flying high above all your gravity, trying to bring me down, but I'll never say, hey, hey, watch me levitate. You cannot get my vibe, no there's no way. You can say what you want, call me insane, trying to bring me down, but I'll never say, hey, hey, watch me levitate. Watch me levitate. Hey, hey, watch me levitate. Up in the window. Up in the window. Up in the window. Up in the window.
Watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate, levitate. Watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate.
Watch me levitate. You cannot kill my vibe, no there's no way. I'm flying high above all your gravity, trying to bring me down, but You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning, you wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, 'cause you should know only fools tread where the angels